Okie dokie. We've got a new camera today. I guess it's fine. Socks. Hello and welcome. Let's begin in a seated position. Cross with the ankles, sitting up nice and tall. You can close your eyes if you would like. Just take a few breaths to help us get grounded and centered here on our mats. Slowly start to tip the head from one side to the other. So left ear to left shoulder, right ear to right shoulder. Check in with yourself. How are you today? Bring the head up to center, draw the chin to the chest. Keeping the chin to the chest, sweep the fingertips up, interlacing the fingers, allowing the palms to float down toward the back of the head. But instead of pulling down on the head, gently press the back of the head into the hands, just a little bit, creating opposition and a small amount of resistance. And if you'd like, you can slowly shake the head no. Again, not a lot of pressure here, just a little bit. And if it feels like it's a little too much, simply place the palms onto the back of the head instead of creating that tension and resistance. You can draw the elbows farther away or closer together, depending on what you have space for. Or you can simply switch to one hand. Or no hands if you'd prefer. Go ahead and lift the neck. We'll roll the neck around in a circle. So taking care as you bring the head back, instead of crunching the neck, try and keep a space at the back of the neck, almost as if you're holding like an orange or a tennis ball back there. And switch directions. Feel free to rest the eyes at any point during our practice today, especially if it feels like you've been staring at a screen. And bring the head back up to center. Place the palms down on either side of the hips, and then slowly start to walk your right hand out to the side. Sweep the left fingertips up and overhead. And if you have a little more space, begin to lower that elbow down to the mat, coming toward the forearm, or onto the forearm. Maybe gently rotating the chest open just a little bit. Might feel like you're gonna fall backwards, but you can always adjust the hand, maybe bring it more back or more side. And bring yourself all the way around the front and to the other side. Again, starting off with just the palm on the mat for now. Using this to reach up through the fingertips and down through the hip. And if you've got a little more space, lowering that forearm down to the ground. And drawing your top ear toward your top shoulder. So instead of letting the head fall down, lifting it up, creating a bit of space on the opposite side of the neck. Again, if it feels good, sort of opening the chest up toward the ceiling, drawing that shoulder back behind you. And float that right arm or left arm down. Walk yourself to the middle. Coming down to the forearms if you'd like. And come up, bring the palms behind the hips, lean back, switch the front leg. And walk it forward. And come up to center. Make your way to all fours, tabletop. The video just seems so dark. Begin to shift the weight toward the fingertips. So we're drawing our shoulders toward our fingertips and drawing our hips toward our toes. You can go as far as you'd like or as far as is comfortable. We're still warming up, so by all means, take it easy. Begin to connect with your breath, gently lengthening the inhales and the exhales. And take that motion side to side. So instead of front and back, we're rocking side to side. Ooh, this is a bit much on my wrist right now, so I'm just going to fold my mat over. Bring the pads of my hands to the folded portion of my mat, and then bring the heel of my hand to the sort of single layer of my single layer of my mat, just to give my hands a bit of cushion. So again, we're taking this side to side. Alternatively, you could bring the heels of your hands onto your mat and the pads of the hands off the mat. So if your wrists need a little bit more space, this is one way to give them that space. You could always use your blocks or your wedges or a bolster. The door? Sorry about that, the dog escaped. But my partner's got it. So, we were moving in a circle. So taking that energy, moving it into a circle now, instead of side to side. And in the opposite direction. And as you exhale, coming back to center, coming back to stillness, flipping your mat back over if you had it folded, making your way into child's pose, sinking the hips towards the heels, toes together, knees wide if you'd like, or knees and ankles in line with each other, coming into Balasana, walking the hands out in front of you or sliding them, drawing the forehead down to the mat, taking a few breaths here. And gaze up, walk the hands back, draw the knees together if you had them apart. Bring the fingertips back behind you, or the palms, depending on how much space you've got, and lean back, opening the chest up toward the ceiling. So gently pressing your chest up toward the ceiling, lifting the chin so it's almost parallel to the wall in front of you, and keeping the back of that neck long, again, as if you have a tennis ball or an orange. So the energy is lifting up. I could draw my chest forward, and it would take my fingertips off the mat. Exhale and come up to center. Bring the palms to the thighs, taking a moment here in hero pose. Now I am on the tops of my feet, but if you are on the balls of your feet, try coming down to the tops of your feet where I just was. And if you were on the tops of your feet, try coming onto the toes. So we're gently stretching our feet and our ankles in the opposite direction. We'll rock forward, bringing the palms back down to the mat. Tuck the toes. If they are not already tucked, lift the hips, sending that energy up and back behind you, coming into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Pedaling the feet here if you wish. So pressing one heel into the mat while you lift the opposite heel and switch. Keeping the ears relaxed by the shoulders and trying not to tuck that chin. Bend the knees, look toward the hands, walk, step, or hop forward. Coming into standing forward fold, relaxing the head. Bend the knees and slowly roll up. Adjust your clothes if you need to. Bring the hands to the low back. Either thumbs wrapped around, fingers in front, or palms on the low back, fingertips facing down toward the heels. As we inhale, lifting that chest once again. So lifting the chest up toward the ceiling, same as we did kneeling. You don't have to go back very far. Inhale, come up. Exhale, bend the knees slightly. Send the hips forward and then draw the chest up. So hips go forward and then lift the chest, almost as if you're doing a small back bend over like a broomstick or a log or something. This might give you a little more space. You can squeeze the glutes if you'd like, adjust the hands if you need. Inhale and come up. Interlace the fingers behind the back, same thing. So choosing to bend the knees slightly or deeply. Send the hips forward, arch the back. If you have a little more space, straightening the knees and allowing the hips to just lean forward, keeping the back of the neck nice and long. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, slide the hands down the legs, bending forward. Walk the feet so they're as wide as the mat, giving yourself just a little bit more space to hang here. You can bend the knees deeply, relax the head. Shifting the weight from left foot to right foot. Bring the left fingertips into the center of the mat. If you don't quite have enough space for the mat, simply bring your left fingertips to your shins, your thighs. You can also bring your forearm, sort of like your elbow, and your hand across the body. Bring the right hand, or left hand to center, bring the right hand to the low back. We'll create a twist. You can bend one or both knees or straighten. So if you've got your hand on your shin or your thigh, add a small bend and gently pull this hand, allowing a twist of the spine, but only what you have space for today. What's in my pants? Exhale, switch sides. Right hand comes to the middle, left hand comes to the low back or the hip. Exhale it back to center. Bend the knees, plant the palms, step back. One knee at a time, coming into your tabletop. And then walk the knees back. Sink the hips forward and down. You can bend the elbows, coming all the way down to the belly. Slide the forearms forward, coming into Sphinx. So the energy here is with the chest and the back, and we're sliding the shoulder blades down the back and drawing the chest forward like a very proud Sphinx. So if it feels comfortable to walk the elbows back a little bit, press the palms into the mat and slightly away from you. This helps us engage the space between the shoulder blades. You can also squeeze the shoulder blades together. So actively pressing the palms down into the mat and slightly forward. This helps us draw our chest forward. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. You can also press the tops of the feet into the mat. If you need a little space, slide the forearms more forward. That same activation of pushing down and into the mat. Gazing forward. Slide the forearms forward and come down to the belly, coming down to one cheek. Stack the palms onto the low back. If you have a little more space, grabbing one wrist with the opposite hand, or you can interlace the fingers behind the back. The choice is yours. You can also bring your fingertips down to the sides and lift up as well. So choosing your variation with the hands, either stacked, grasping a wrist, interlaced, or on the mat. Slide the forearms down the back if you have the hands interlaced, If you've simply got the palms stacked or holding onto a wrist, lifting the chest up and off of the mat, gazing forward. It's alright if your feet come up or stay down, the choice is yours. If you need a little space at the back of the neck, you can gaze down. Exhale, float the shoulders back down, coming down onto one cheek. Release the hands and take a full breath. And bring the hands toward the rib cage and press up to all fours. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Exhale, lower the knees all the way down to the mat. Sink the hips towards the heels, coming back into a kneeling position, drawing the knees together or hip distance apart. Bringing our fingertips back behind us, lifting the chest up toward the ceiling, maybe leaning back, pressing some weight into the palms. Again, that action of drawing the chest up and forward should be enough to lift the fingertips up and off of the mat. So we're not putting that much weight in the hands. It's okay if they come off completely. Maybe they rest on the thighs and you center your attention on drawing the chest forward and up. And come all the way up, walk the hands forward, coming back into Balasana, Child's Pose. If you'd like, you can bring the palms together and draw the thumbs toward the back of the neck. And release the hands. Yeah, 6:15. All right, make your way onto your back. If you would like to grab a sip of water here or put your socks back on, grab any props that you would like. We will be transitioning into Shavasana shortly here. think this was on this foot. It just sucks. So if you would prefer to take Shavasana on your side or on your belly, you may do that as well. If you would like to do legs up the wall position like this, either on the wall or in the center of the room, you can also do recline butterfly, or simply knock the knees together, feet out to the side. Whatever posture feels best for you and your body right now. So making your way into Shavasana or Shavasana adjacent position. Whoops. Gently closing the eyes if that's comfortable, or finding a drishti to focus on. And soften the ankles, soften the calves. Soften the thighs. Soften the hips. Soften the belly. Relax the palms. Relax the forearms. Soften the chest. Maybe swallow to relax the throat. Soften the jaw and the ears and the cheeks. Soften the forehead. Relax the whole body heavy into the mat, and take this time to simply exist. slowly come back into your body by wiggling your fingers and wiggling your toes. Gently moving the ankles from left to right. Maybe rolling the wrists around in a circle. And slowly shaking the head no. On your next inhale, stretch your fingertips high above your head, stretching from fingertip to toe. And as you exhale, rolling onto your side, maybe curling into a ball. Thank yourself for stepping onto your yoga mat today. And when you're ready, bring your top palm onto the mat in front of your chest, gently extending the top leg. Guide yourself up into a seated position. If you have your eyes closed, as I still do, bring the palms up to cover the eyes. Gently flutter the eyes open. And bring the palms to heart center. And as you move forward with your week and your weekend, please take this practice as a gentle reminder to stretch, to move, to twist a little, to check in with your body. Bow the head if you would like. The light in me sees and respects the light in you. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you next time.